Yeah, well, Hawkeyes falling in the Big Ten tournament quarterfinals on this Friday evening. Final score 60-59 from Indianapolis. I'm joined, as always, by a favorite here around these parts, Kachine Alexander, Hawkeye great Kachine Alexander. And Kachine, I wish we were coming to our fans here with better news. 1 point differential here, but it's the wrong way. A 1 point loss against the Buckeyes, a team that Iowa lost to earlier this year. In overtime, these two teams are obviously very evenly matched. At least the sample size that we have thus far is an indicator of that. Give me your first thoughts. Obviously, a difficult way to end this game.
Yeah, I think overall we played really well. I mean, I think 16 turnovers. Like, I can't be mad at that. I felt Lucy commanded the game very well. She was probably the main reason why we didn't have 20 plus turnovers. So I thought she did a really good job. And, you know, if Taylor McCabe was 2 for 6, we could be looking at this a little bit differently. I think that Achilles heel is what I'm going to say is late game situations for the coaching staff.
No, yeah.
I think that that's something that they really need to get better at quickly. Because all of the late game situations that we've been in have been extremely questionable. And so I think that, like I said, there are a lot of different things, and we'll get into that today in regards to that could have been different. We're talking about schemes where coaches can affect the game, things like that. But overall, like I said, I think they played well. I think that they fought like hell, honestly. So they have nothing to hold their heads down at all.
Couple things. It's amazing. I go to the chat, and two of the first few comments are about how bad Guyton is. Like, people are so short-sighted. They remember what they see right now, a player struggling right now. And I sure hope as I scroll, and if I see it, I'm just going to ignore it tonight. But if I see negative comments about Taylor McCabe, sometimes shooters have off nights.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't a shot she took. There was maybe one in the first half that was a little rushed. But in general, I thought she took good shots, and I thought she made good decisions. It was her assist.
I don't think she should have been in the game, but that's nor here nor there.
Say it again?
I don't think she should have been in the game.
Why?
Because when you have a player like that, right? We're talking 0 for 6 at this point. We're talking 0 for 4. We're talking 0 for 5. We're talking, I mean, it's just at this point, I get the beginning parts of it. But you also have a player on the bench, Ava Hayden, who was playing very well. And when we went with our two bigs, we were okay. We were doing well. I didn't have an issue with it at all. It also helped us on the rebounding side of things and on the zone in that aspect. We're bigger. So I felt like we could have been just fine and probably done better because the way Cody McMahon was guarding Ava, she doesn't want to foul. She doesn't want to do anything. So why are we going away from that to bring back in Taylor McCabe, who's cold as ice? It doesn't logically make sense. So like I said, not saying you're right. I'm not going to give Taylor McCabe any slack at all. I mean, it would be nice if she would have hit one, but I also know shooters are shooters. Like that's sometimes they off, sometimes they on. It is what it is, but it's up to the coaches to make a decision. And I felt like in that scenario, even the end of the third quarter, why are we taking out Ava in the last defensive possession to put in Hannah? No, you keep both of them in there. Because now on defense, what does Ohio State do very well? Offensive rebound. You're bigger in the paint. Keep them in there for the last, I forgot how many seconds they had in that third quarter or whatever it was when she got the offensive rebound and she went back in. I think it was third quarter. Maybe it was halftime. I don't remember. One of those. What are we doing? Things like that. So I feel like because we were playing zone, we were fine with two bigs if it needed to be. Now you move Sydney to the 3, and now we're even bigger. And so I felt like, yes, ideally we would love Taylor McCabe because she stretches the floor. I understand that. But she ain't stretching nothing right now. She's not helping us right now. So towards the end, I would have shied away from that. Just my take.
Promise you right now, folk. I promise I did not plan this out. Kachine and I didn't have a conversation. I think we each got a good laugh from some of the comments over the last 24 hours of people being critical toward you, toward me. So I did not plan what I'm about to say out. But I totally disagree with what you just said. I totally disagree. I think she's a phenomenal shooter. And I don't care if she's 0 for 10, 0 for 15. And I tweeted that out.
She doesn't do anything else but shoot, though. That's the thing. So, like, if she was something else, for example, Gabby Marshall, even if she was off, we're okay because she's giving us something else. She ain't giving us nothing else if she ain't shooting. Like, she's giving us nothing else.
Well, she's not. Here's the problem, though. Here's what the problem. Here's my issue with what you're saying. These last two games, she's been open a lot. So she shot in these last two games, she shot a combined 16 threes because teams are not guarding her well. Now, the fact of the matter is she was 4 of 16, but that is against the grain of what we've seen her entire career. Her percentages over the course of her career have been near the top of the Big Ten. So that's all I'm saying. I understand where you're coming from, but to me, if they're going to keep giving our best shooters open looks, I'm going to keep feeding her. I'm going to keep telling her, shoot, shoot, shoot. And I think they were telling her that, Kachine.
No, I'm sure they were. I just feel like at some point, stop fucking shooting. Stop shooting. Like,
how do you coach that way, though? How do you coach that way?
Okay, listen. This is what the difference is, okay? And I said this before. Gabby Marshall, no matter what, we're going to tell Gabby Marshall to keep shooting, yes?
She's not as good of a
We
shooter.
did. No, I'm just saying. Did we say that every time Gabby was open, we told her to shoot it? Okay.
Yes.
When she's 0 for 6, 0 for 5, whatever you want to call it. The problem is that Gabby gave us something else in the game. She was effective somewhere else. Taylor gives us absolutely nothing else if she is not shooting well. So now we have kind of like an ice box over there because she's not doing anything else. She's not a great passer. She's not driving to the basket. She's not creating for anybody. She's not doing anything else. So yes, if she's in the game, she got to shoot it 100%. You ain't have nothing else you offering us. I'm saying as a coach, you have to take her out of that situation because she's doing exactly what she's supposed to do. I would never tell Taylor McCabe if she's in the game and she's open not to shoot the ball. You're in the game.
Put her on the bench, though. When you put her on the bench, you are telling her that we don't want.
No, I'm telling her that something else is working.
Yeah, but I mean
that's the story of everything. Just like Hannah, we've sat her at the end of the game because somebody else was playing well. That doesn't mean something's wrong with Hannah. That doesn't mean we're telling her something. At the end of the day, whatever is working, you go with it. And if you are feeling some kind of way about it, well, then that's a you problem. That's all I'm saying. So again, I agree with you. If she's in the game, she got to shoot it. She has to. She has nothing else to offer.
My point, though,
she shouldn't have been.
But Kachine, my point is that she was it. When you say whatever is working, the fact of the matter is their offense was working to get her open shots. We're going to put that caller on hold because he's talking. The offense was getting her open shots. So from you can look at it from that perspective and saying it is working. We're getting the shots that we want. Taylor McCabe,
it ain't working because we ain't getting no points out of it.
Well, but Taylor McCabe shooting open threes. I saw Hannah Stolke miss like 3 or 4 layups in the first half tonight. So, but Taylor McCabe shooting wide open threes are some of the best looks you can get from anybody on the floor. That's what I'm saying. So if that is happening, yeah, they're not falling yet, but man, we're keep getting open looks from her. I'm just saying I can see it. I see what you're saying, but I can also see it the other way, and I think that's where Jan and the staff saw it in that second half is she's getting looks, and eventually they're going to start falling.
They were trying to believe in her, and I was like, "This ain't the time." Sorry, in my mindset, Ava, at the way she's playing right now, she is coming on right now. She is almost automatic from the block, especially against Cody McMahon because she doesn't want to foul.
Yeah,
and she's also how many inches taller than her. So if I have a choice, I'm not choosing Taylor McCabe, who's 0 for 6, over Ava, who is a bucket right now. Logically, we're talking about right now.
Did it have to be that back and forth though? Did it have to be either McCabe or Ava? We saw McCabe.
I think it did because I wouldn't take out Kylie because I thought she was playing well. I wouldn't take out Lucy. I wouldn't take out Sydney. So the only other, and I'm not taking out Hannah. So the other option is Taylor McCabe. She's the only one with the goose egg.
Well, you are okay. You say I'm not taking out Hannah. Earlier in the year, you said you're not playing those two together because Hannah can't play the 4.
You're absolutely right. But what I've seen the last game and this game, somehow those two figure out how to operate. I can't tell you how, but they figure out how to operate. And on the zone is what actually, where in my mindset, I'm watching the zone. I'm like, okay. We're bigger. We can rebound better because we would play great defense, and then they get an offensive rebound. I'm like, oh my God, look, because Taylor McCabe or even Kylie is on the back line. What are we doing with those two on the back line? Like, Kylie can't box nobody out down there. So that was my mindset in the grand scheme of things because offensively they were playing well. They were okay because Cody was standing. She was guarding Ava. That's a bucket. So I don't know why they did that, mind you. I was very confused. But hey, it's nor here nor there. I didn't understand why she was guarding her. But it is what it is. Maybe they figured it was a freshman and, she was better off doing it. I don't know. But that was my only thing. Like I said before, I get it. You're never going to tell your shooter to stop shooting. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to instill that. However, There's ways around it. Like, there's ways to figure that out. Sometimes you just ain't hitting. It is what it is. It ain't your game, baby. It's okay. Take a seat. Try it again next time.
Kachine and I, you and I have had a difference of opinions pretty staunchly here the last 24 hours. So
yeah, sure.
Some of the top rated shows on television are like First Take and what's that stupid one on FS1 with Skip Bayless? I guess he's gone now, but First Things First, right? Isn't that what that's called?
First Take, or I don't know anymore.
Oh, First Take is ESPN, but anyways, yeah,
whatever. Yeah, those things.
Okay, so a couple things. Bo, thank you for the super chat. Why not have Hayden in for the last defensive possession? She had been deterring OSU at the rim all night. The only thing I can think of is in a situation like that with a freshman where you're in the bonus, you don't want to give up a foul, and you trust their older players, the older players that were in the game at that time. The problem is they weren't able to go away without fouling. Although I thought it wasn't a horrible call, but I did not think the officiating was good tonight, Kachine.
That was the right call, though.
Well, she also got away with a little bit of a chicken wing, but nevertheless, I don't think it was a well officiated night. And I know we're gonna get Kyle in here in a second because I saw him tweet out about this in response to someone earlier tonight, and I want to engage with him a little bit. So, but that's the only thing I think about Ava in response to Bo. Did you agree with this? Did you think she should have been on the floor for the defensive possession?
Not, and the only reason why I say that is because our back line is very small.
Yeah.
So I knew they were going to Cody, and she's not going to settle for a jump shot. So even with that, you still need bigger people because the 5 is going to have to help. That I knew that was going to happen. So if the 5 has to help, that means your backside has got to rebound their butt off. Depending on what side that is, that was either going to be Kylie or that could potentially have been Taylor and Sydney. And I didn't like that option. So if Ava came over to help, and she's played straight up defensive floor, not saying that I understand why they may not have, because sometimes Ava reaches when she don't need to. Yep. So I agree. But I felt like for offensive rebounding purposes and things like that, I felt like I probably would have went with the 2 bigs over that lineup.
By the way, so a couple things here. Let me find the comment here. So first of all, Hawkeyes 2133 says Kyle Huseman jinxed us, writing that UCLA preview early. So we'll get his perspective on that. But there was another comment that I wanted to get to that I'm not seeing now. Well, first of all, I totally disagree with this as well. Hala Abusa. Most important game of the season was a bad game for us, and the game was terrible to watch. I loved watching this game. It was a phenomenal, hard-fought game. Neither team shot the ball well, but I thought it was really a back-and-forth, heated March affair. So I totally disagree with that comment. Now, Stavros, thank you for the super chat. Last one before we get to Kyle, and we've got several callers, including James, Tom, and then several other people. So, Stavros, thank you so much for the donation. Iowa needs to set screens for McCabe and Guyton. Well, again, McCabe's getting a lot of open threes. So, Guyton, I can understand it. Nothing happens off ball at all in our offense. It's crazy. We can say a shooter is cold, but if you don't ever run your offense to them, it's to be expected. Okay, well, again, I think they're getting good looks, especially Taylor. Taylor got good looks. Like I say, maybe she forced one shot tonight, but in general, she just doesn't. And give her credit. It was a really good, simple fake and from the corner out to Sydney Falter, who once again was phenomenal from outside. She was down yesterday. She's 0 for 3. But boy, she kept them in the game today with her 4 made threes on 4 5 attempts. Phenomenal stuff from the best 3-point shooter in the country by the numbers since mid-January. So Stavros, thank you for the super chat. And before we get to our callers, we're going to add Kyle Huseman, HawkeyeReport.com, into the mix. And Kyle, once again, you have heard Kachine and I disagree here in the first few minutes. I think I know what you're going to say on this, but you tell me, who do you tend to agree with on this regarding Taylor McCabe playing as many minutes as she did in spite of struggling as much as she did.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting debate because we've seen Taylor McCabe make a lot of threes not only this season, but shoot the ball at a high level for her entire career at Iowa. That being said, she hasn't shot the ball super well lately. I don't have the numbers up. I mean, she's still shooting pretty well for a normal player, I guess. But she has been a little off recently. She had She had 4 threes against Michigan State, had 3 against Wisconsin, but prior to that, she hadn't been shooting it that well. So I mean, 0 of 6, I thought she got some pretty good looks tonight that weren't falling. And it's just kind of that tough back and forth decision of, the coaching staff knows how well Taylor McCabe can shoot the ball. We all know how well Taylor McCabe can shoot the ball, but at a certain point, you have to make a decision of, is it just not her night? And 0 of 6 is, it's tough because, she can start. She just did it against, Minnesota earlier in the year when she was 0 for 5, and then she hits, a clutch late 3. So I think that's what the coaching staff was leaning towards in this moment, is that they still felt like that, playing the odds that it's going to be it'd be pretty hard to believe that McCabe would go 0 of 6 in a game just based on her numbers for her career. So I don't know that I have a stance. I think it's a tough spot to be in just because in this specific game, she just didn't have it. 0 of 6, she just didn't have it. But when you look at her career this season, or even the last couple of games, made 7 at the Big Ten tournament coming in, you want to look at those numbers and say, man, it just seems like she's going to have to make one at some point if she's open. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough decision to make because you're trying to weigh both sides of it, of the specific game in particular, but also weighing the history of Taylor McCabe and knowing that at some point she is going to catch some fire and knock some down.
Karen Kurt, thank you so much for the donation on Venmo. That is much appreciated. And to everybody that has been a part of the early action here on the postgame show with Cash, myself, and Kyle. Here's my question, Kachine, and I know where you're going to stand because you're stubborn. That's okay. I am too. But if Taylor McCabe had come in there on the final possession and nailed a 3 and won the game, would you have been saying they kept her in the game too long? Or would you have been praising the coaching staff for being loyal and sticking with their best 3-point shooter?
I wouldn't have been praising them. Let me say that. I think that I still felt like at some point it still wasn't going. Now, mind you, I say that only because on a normal occasion, let me make sure I say this. On a normal occasion, there are a lot of factors why I'm very particular about this stance. On a normal occasion, I would have said stick with Taylor. They have played 2 hard games in 2 days, soon to be 3. So not only was she not shooting well, but I know her legs are tired. Okay. So that's usually the cause of it. So the likelihood of her coming back on is very slim because of that. Now, if it was a situation where they had rest and maybe she was 0 for 5 in a game and, like a normal schedule, I would have kept her in because I probably would believe that she is going to find her rhythm and she'll be fine. But I feel like there was a lot of reasons why she was 0 for 6. I think it was legs. I think it was fatigue. I think it was a lot of those things, which is why I would have pulled the trigger in this case scenario. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I want to ask you, Kyle, the same question, and I may end up kind of going after you a little bit here because I saw your comment on Twitter. Your response to somebody who said that this was not a well officiated game was, well, Iowa's been in the free throw line more times than Ohio State. And my issue with that comment, and I'm going to give you a chance to respond to that. My issue with that comment is how Ohio State plays. Obviously is more physical, more aggressive. And in some cases, not usually, but in some cases, one team just fouls more. So I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong in that's not a good indicator at times, but I thought there were some bad calls here, and maybe I'm in the minority on this. I think it was a poorer officiated game today than it was yesterday. And I think you two would probably flip that around. But I have an issue with a lot of the 50-50 calls that were made. There was at least 1 and 1 that I thought should have been called. I know Jan wanted 1, which that one was a little iffy. There were a couple over the back calls in the first half that were not made. Made Iowa players on the ground like 3 straight possessions. It felt like early. Just felt like here's my big problem with the officiating tonight is the officials officiated this game in favor of Ohio State in that I don't know that it was uneven, but they officiated the game in a way that favored their style of play. And I don't know how you either they're going to be either a group of officials is going to call a game tight or they're not. And sometimes it changes half to half and you don't want it to. But I think the way the game was officiated was in favor of Ohio State. I don't know that you can argue that just based on the calls that were made, it favored one team. But just your thoughts on that, because I did see your response on Twitter to somebody's comment on officiating during the game.
We've talked about officials several times. I've had a couple of comments about officials this year. I honestly didn't think it was bad. I think, I do agree with your comment that the officiating tonight, they let it go. They let it be a more physical game, which to me, when you're in March and you're starting to get into the quarterfinals, the semifinals, the championship of these conference tournaments, and then you talk about the NCAA tournament, refs generally start to let things go. Let it be a little bit more physical, because you don't want it to be like the first matchup between these two teams where there were over 60 combined free throws in that game. I don't want to watch that in March. I just don't. So I don't mind, as long as they're going to just let it go for both sides and let both sides, be a little bit physical. That's fine. The problem with your comment is that, yes, letting it be physical maybe goes in favor of Ohio State because they are a physical basketball team. They're going to press. They're going to try to, get some steals and things like that. And sometimes that means that they get away with some foul calls. But the problem is if they called all of those and called a tight game, it would have been the officiating would have been in favor of Iowa's style of play, which is not quite as physical level of play. They're not getting up in every single possession like that. So I think it's tough when you have a team that have two different styles of play, one that's super physical. And I don't think Iowa's a weak team or an unphysical team. I just think they're a normal level of physicality. But I do think that if they would have called a tight game, that would have favored Iowa more than Ohio State, because Ohio State likes to play a higher level of physicality. So I think it's one of those where the matchup between the two teams, no matter what way they called it, one team would have felt like they were being slighted.
Is it possible to call a balanced game? And we don't have to be on two ends of the spectrum. And the other part of this is Iowa had also come off 2 straight games, one really physical game last night, and Ohio State's totally rested up. So when you call it that way, not only is it favoring style of play, it's also favoring the team that's fresh as opposed to the team that's
but it's not up to the officials to say, Iowa's already played 2 games.
What I'm saying is, well, yeah, I guess the argument is, could the officiating have been more balanced? I think it could have been more balanced. I don't think you have to play a nitty-gritty tight contest.
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, without rewatching the game, watching every single play that I think could have been a foul. I mean, if you add 5 or 6 free throws to each team, does that change the game? Because I don't think, like I said, I don't think I thought Iowa had some missed calls that they could have had on the defensive end as well, and Ohio State on the other end as well. But I don't know that it necessarily changes the game, because I didn't feel like either side got away with more than the other. So I thought both sides were allowed to be physical. What I will say is I thought Sittafolter got fouled on that drive at the end. And there, our photographer Dennis has a picture up of I believe it was Taylor Theory, arm just completely slashing across Sid's arm as she drove to the basket there. So I thought that was a missed call on a big spot. But overall, I didn't feel like.
I want to catch that real quick, Kyle. Kachine, your thoughts on that, because that was a question from Lucas as well. Foul on, let's see, was it a foul at the end? And then you already told me that the foul
on Hannah with Cody is a foul. It was definitely a blocking foul. Hannah was falling before the contact was even happening. And then Sid, she got fouled.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I will say
the problem with that is that here's my issue with that. And I understand where you both are coming from. But again, Kyle, we're talking about letting teams play, but they didn't let Iowa play on defense, but they let Ohio State play the very next possession.
Well, okay, all right. Well, if you let Iowa play, Cody made a very wide open layup after Hannah fell down, so it was going to be the same.
I will say that the foul on the foul that did not get called on Sydney. The one thing that I do wonder is that Sydney kind of lost the ball, so I wonder if the refs didn't see the ball. Does that make sense? Like, because from where I was, and I haven't looked at the picture, but I couldn't see the ball. I didn't even know she still had it until like the ball went like almost directly up in the air. And so that told me that she lost the ball in her like gather, but I wonder if that's the reason why. Again, I'm definitely not saying that the ref shouldn't have called a foul, because I definitely believe it was foul, but I wonder if that's the reason. Because they're trained to watch the ball. Like that's usually what they're watching. So if they don't see the ball or something else, sometimes that's what happens in that aspect. Again, not saying it should not have been called, because it should have been. I think it was foul. But I wonder if that's probably what happened.
And for the record, I do think there have been worse officiated games before.
Sure.
And it certainly, for me, it's going to come out more my personal feelings on this when it's a 1-point loss in tournament play. I'll admit that, because that's where my objectivity kind of goes by the wayside. So anyways, we know we got several people that want to comment, but before we get to James is our first caller who's been on hold for quite a while to start this thing off. So James, we're going to get to you in just a second, but I want to ask Cody McMahon. There's a lot of people commenting on her. Apparently she made some comment post game about Iowa disrespecting her or in Ohio State. I did not hear that on the Big Ten broadcast, so maybe I just missed it. Did I just miss that on the broadcast, Kyle?
Yeah. She they asked her about because she has, to her credit, played very well against Iowa the last 3-4 times they've played. And I think it was a question about why do you play so well? What about the matchup against Iowa? And she started off by saying I'm not going to get into it, and then she said let's just that they have disrespectful views towards us, and that we take that personally. And to me, it was just completely out of line comment.
Two disrespectful views? Is that what she said? Views?
Yeah, something like Iowa having disrespectful views towards.
Let's be honest here. Iowa fans, not all of them, destroyed her last year. Okay, let's be honest.
What are you talking
about? On
about?
social media, they destroyed her. Those Iowa fans that we don't talk about. Okay,
yeah, I'm trying to figure what would do.
Because Cody McMahon in general is a very aggressive person. It's very, very aggressive,
and a bit of a drama queen.
I do not disagree.
Okay. But the comment that, if that's what she was referencing, I guess that's different.
That's what she's
the way she made it come off right after the game was like the Iowa team.
No. She's talking about the fan base scenario. Now maybe she didn't say the right words, but that's what she's talking about. Because even last year she responded to it on Twitter. So ever since then, she's had Iowa's number in her mindset of that. It has nothing to do with the team. The teams, they don't have any ill will with her. It's what happened after. I can't remember what game it was. It was the first game or the second game with Caitlin Clark. But there's some crazy Caitlin Clark fans out there. Okay. And they went insane on her last year. So, in very nasty comments, very racial comments, very disrespectful comments. It was gross. So, she's taken that in the sense of personal. That's what she meant.
The problem is, though, that's the fan base, and if she's talking.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Iowa, yes, the team is just a bystander. Like they're just taking bullets. Like they're not doing anything. But when you have people attacking you from a certain fan base, your mindset is now, oh yeah, I'm giving it to them every single chance I get, because every time, because I'm not going to allow you another time to say something.
I get that.
I'm going to give it to you every time. Again, it has nothing to do with the team, though.
I don't mind
Iowa.
I don't mind the mindset. I just thought it was kind of an out of line thing to say 10 seconds after the game on TV.
Well, if you're saying it, I get. Yeah, I see what Kyle's point, because if you're asking the questions about why you play well against it, why not just say, well, their fans have gotten on me, and I can kind of see what. Now, look, it's national TV, it's live.
Well, she probably should have just stuck with her first thing and said, I'm not going to get into it. But then she did. Like, I think her emotions got, you know what I'm saying? Because she could have literally just said that.
She is a drama queen. She's a drama queen.
I'm not going to deny that. She is. She's very emotional, hot-headed. Like, that's just who she is. Now, that's partly what makes her the dog of a player she is. But on the flip side of things, it's not always the best way to handle things. She probably shouldn't have got interviewed right after the game because she had a lot of emotions running through her. But it is what it is. She said what she said, but
and I have respect for her as a player. She's a really good basketball player, and frustrated. If I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm frustrated she wasn't more aggressive through much of this game. I thought she had opportunities to drive to the cup and draw more fouls early in the game, and that's part of the reason they didn't get as many trips to the free throw lines because she was not as aggressive throughout until that fourth quarter when she
got a couple fouls early, and I think that kind of took her from that one to pick up a third one on an offensive foul. But
okay, it looks like we lost James. So James, if you meant to log off, if you didn't mean to log off, we'll try to get you back in the mix. But we'll go to Tom, who's been on hold as well. Tom, thank you for calling the post-game show. Welcome.
Corey, I don't imagine Jan's going to sleep tonight. What do you think?
Well, they probably fly home tonight, don't they, Kyle? No, they don't fly home tonight.
They're not flying home tonight. They'll fly home tomorrow.
They stay there in Indy and fly home tomorrow. She'll sleep tonight. Hey, the sun rises tomorrow. The sun rises tomorrow. This is not a devastating loss for big dance hopefuls.
No, but Jan's going to be like, just like how we're critiquing her, she's going to be critiquing herself, Well,
that's probably what great coaches do.
New coach.
Great coaches do. I think the best coaches who have ever coached the game get very little sleep. Kachine, you've worked with some good coaches, and you've played for some good coaches. Is that true? The best coaches are oftentimes the hardest workers.
Yeah, they don't really get much sleep because they're always thinking about what they could have done differently. Drives them nuts.
Now I'll probably get shot in the comments, but I like McMahon, and I like to watch Ohio State play.
I like their team.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
I would have loved to play against her. I think it would have been quite the entertainment.
I think they actually.
If you would have told me McMahon was only going to score 18 points tonight, I thought our chances would be pretty good then.
Yeah, and then 2 fouls in the first quarter.
So that's where I think Iowa goofed up in the second half, is not going at her.
Well, that can be easier. That's a good point, Kachine. How could Iowa have strategized to try to get her fourth foul? She had 3. Did she ever get called for?
You know what I said earlier? There was a reason. They put her on Ava because, quote unquote, they thought that she would be safe there. Well, we needed to keep feeding her because Cody wasn't going to do anything. Just give it to her and let her score. It's very simple.
The other thing I wrote down here, Ava had a nice night scoring points, but I really think she made a difference on the defensive end. And I'm like, Cash, I think Hannah and Ava should have been in there more in the second half, and Ava should have been in there for the last defensive stand. That was my opinion.
Yeah, so that was a question that was in the chat as well. Talk about that dynamic, that dynamic of Hayden and Stolke. Have we seen that before today? We see it a little bit yesterday.
We saw it yesterday. I don't know if we've seen it before, and if we have, it might not have been for very long, if that. But I think we were always seeing the 2 bigs being Hannah and Addie. I don't think we've seen Hannah and Ava before. But yeah, they worked really well together. It allowed Ava times to run the floor because Hannah could get the rebound. Like they had a really good cohesive kind of unit, 1-2 punch that I don't think we were prepared for. Neither was Ohio State, actually. So yeah, I think that was.
I tell you what, Ava Hayden runs like a stag. She really
like
does.
Gazelle.
A gazelle. There you go.
She's just I've never seen anything like it.
So the other thing I wrote down as far as McCabe goes, if you'd have told me she was 0 for 6 tonight on them open shots she took, I would have said you're crazy. She had some nice looks, and they didn't fall.
6, right? Am I wrong?
So I guess the next thing is I said at the start of the fourth quarter, I sent some text messages out, legs are going to kill us. Fourth quarter. It's just, you've got 2 games in you in 2 days, and Ohio State had none. And that's
Iowa did win the fourth quarter, Tom. Iowa did win.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily think the legs got to Iowa because if Cody McMahon misses a shot or whatever on that last possession, Iowa wins. So I didn't think. There were a couple of stretches where Iowa went with some offensive lulls, but and some of the missed threes were short. But I didn't think that overall it didn't seem like, because Iowa plays well enough defensively, and defense is one of the first things that's going to go when you're tired, is you're just not going to be able to defend at such a high level. So I thought Iowa defended well. I didn't think that the fatigue really set in as much as I thought it might.
Tom, anything else before we let you slide?
I was really good. I was a really good defensive team, and I'll let you go. Thanks.
Sounds good. Absolutely. We agree with that. And again, that's going to keep them and give them a chance against anybody. This is an Ohio State team that's been in the top 10 basically all year. And, I mean, again, they've not gotten blown out by anyone. Anybody. Nobody. Kachine, nobody's blown this team out all year. And they've had like 4 or 5 matchups versus top 10 teams and a handful of other against top 25 teams. So who's going to blow them out in the tournament? Who is going to blow out this Iowa team in the NCAA tournament? Give me 5 teams that will blow them out when they set foot on the neutral court.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame will blow them out. Okay.
I do.
They don't score a ton of points, do they?
I have no idea how we're going to guard those 2 guards.
Yeah, I understand.
No clue. South Carolina. I think Texas I think they're going to go down fast.
I think the thing is, you could name 5 teams, but I don't know that on any given night they could do it. Like NC State, sure. NC State at their best level could beat Iowa by 10 plus. LSU, when they're playing their best, would do it. But Iowa at their best level as well. I mean, it would take like Iowa not playing their best and a couple of teams to play their best. But I don't know if there's a for sure. Outside of a couple of teams, like UConn would beat Iowa in my opinion. But I don't think like UConn would have to play well to do it, to blow them out. I don't know if there's anyone that I would say for sure to do it outside of a couple of teams. But I do think there are several teams that could do it. Now I think like Ohio State on a really good night for Ohio State could beat Iowa by 10 plus. I think a lot of time teams on any given night could, but I don't know that there's many. I
think USC would, honestly. USC is still, if they get them on a neutral, I think USC probably wins by 15 plus.
I honestly thought if Iowa won tonight that tomorrow could get pretty bad, just because UCLA was going to be playing second game, Iowa was going to be playing fourth game. I thought the rebounding could go pretty poorly tomorrow. I thought I wouldn't have picked UCLA to win by double digits, but I would have probably had UCLA by 8 or something like that. But that's more of just like the matchup that it would have been at that point.
We do need to let Kyle get to his post-game work, but I do want to get to at least one more call here, and then we'll let him slide, and we'll finish things off with Cash and myself. Thank you for calling Iowa post-game here with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
Beep, beep.
Hey, you're on the air. Hello? Anybody there?
They don't even sound like somebody.
They've been on hold for 32 minutes. Hello?
Does it say they're muted?
No, I don't know. Hello.
What's their name? Does it say?
No.
Let's
see if it could be a problem with the phone line, because I was having issues with the phone line earlier. Let's see if we got our next caller. Thank you for calling Iowa postgame with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're having problems here. Okay, we're gonna have to see if we can get the phone line back up and running. Let's add in Corey while I'm trying to work on the phone line here. Corey, welcome to the show.
Corey, I'm with Kachine, and it's her and I, and we're coming after you. Ava Hayden. Ava should have been in that game as a defender, let alone on the offensive end attacking. And that's my first point. And when shooters are shooters when they're having a good night. And McCabe was not having a good night. She was not a good shooter tonight. Just because she shot good 2 games ago or last game doesn't mean she's a good shooter tonight. The good shooter tonight was Sydney a falter from 3. And so, but I'm just disgusted that Cody gets the calls and then you come down there and let Sydney get absolutely mugged, hammered, destroyed on that drive down the lane. That was pathetic. That ruined that game because we didn't get to see the game play out the way it should have played out. And then the last thing I'll say is, I have a lot of respect for Cody's game, but she didn't need to throw shade in an interview like that. And the only thing I'll say about her character is she gave the double fingers to the Maryland people just recently here.
She's a lot.
So she's got some issues.
Wait. Hold on. What did you say, Kachine?
I said she's a lot.
Okay, she's a lot.
Yeah.
She's got some fire in her, and maybe that's to her advantage.
It is.
But I just think that wasn't the time or place to throw shade when you just won. You're moving on. You should be filled with joy, and you're going to go that route. But that said, I respect her game. I just think
you also denounce the people that were going after her last year in this fan base. That if
absolutely. That if these people that attack these individuals, they're just showing what low level individuals they are.
Yep.
And it's a lower life form than human to be able to do that and attack an athlete, and especially to gang up on him or something like that.
And here's the deal. We're not going to get into this conversation, but there are, I'm sure, a lot of the people who were attacking her last year. I don't know what they were attacking her for. Do we know what they were attacking her?
Listen, I don't hold on to things like that, but I feel like something happened. Like she was being herself in this, like what we're talking about. She either got a technical, something happened in the game. Don't remember what it was, but something happened and that caused the riffraff. And it might have been something involving Caitlin Clark, if I'm not mistaken. And then it kind of snowballed from there.
Let me just say one thing, and then I promise we're going to move off of this. But there are some people, I'm not saying it's people in the chat or people watching the show, but there are some people that if something happens in a game with a player such as Cody McMahon, they go above and beyond. And at times it is racial because there are still a lot of racist people that watch sports. That's all I'll say. I'm not saying that that's what it comes down to with that, but we can get off of it, but I just want to say I do feel for Cody from that perspective. Because if she's getting hate and, Peyton Sanford was apparently getting death threats yesterday. I mean, come on. What are we doing? I mean, and he's a white boy from Des Moines, Iowa. So I'm just saying, look, if people are throwing crap at Cody for the middle finger and for her, the way she plays, her emotions, I get that. But hey, guess what, Corey? Caitlin Clark played with a lot of emotion. And, you could say she was more classy with how she did it and whatnot. I get that, but there's no room in sport. There's no room in sport for racial epithets. There's no room for death threats. There's no room for that crap. So I feel for her from that regard if that happened last year.
For sure. And, the thing I'll say is the ideal way to handle it is somewhat like Caitlin Clark. Play with fire on the court.
Sure.
But then when the game's over, shed positivity and promote your game and move it forward. And I think that's the best way to be if you can be that way. I know some people, everybody's their own individual. If they want to be more fiery in an interview and they want to do whatever they want to do, it's a freedom of speech. So, but, and I'll point out one more thing. They had Lisa Bluter on after the game, and she said, I think Iowa missed an opportunity to really go ISO against McMahon and really put the pressure on her and try to rack up some fouls, even in the second quarter of the game there, and try to get her in trouble. And Tom mentioned it, and I would agree with that. But to me, I feel like we were robbed of the accurate portrayal of how this game should have played out, because Sydney Falter got hammered. And I thought that was a great play. She drew up Jan, and just, it's just sickening to see when there was, I won't call it a special whistle on the other end, but I'll tell you, they could have called that Hannah flop a no call. And they're
To Kyle's point, she did make the shot. I mean, to Kyle's point, she did make the shot after.
And I thought it was a foul. I didn't have a problem with that call.
The only thing I would say is what I said earlier was there was a little bit of the chicken wing there. So if there was any reason, I don't say what should have been an offensive foul. There was a little bit of the chicken wing. In that case, then the shot would have been waved off and it would have went the other way. But I don't really have an issue with that call. I kind of have an issue. I'm more of an issue with the fact that it wasn't called on the other end on the very final possession. And by the way, we haven't said this yet, but really good look for Hannah Stolke. Can we all agree on that? Really good look for Hannah Stolke. You can't ask for a better look with 0.7.
I mean, Hannah put a pretty good shot on it. I mean, that's not her, forte, but
without a timeout, I'll take it.
Without a timeout, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Good job creating space.
And I'll get out of your hair here, but I just wanted to reiterate, in my opinion, and I stand with Cash on this, and I'll die on the hill with her. Ava should have been in there as a defender.
Yesterday, I was the one who died on the Ava Hill, and you all were praising Kachine. But go ahead.
Hold on. Hold.
No, I'm not talking. I ain't ripping you. I'm ripping the guy below.
No. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a situational person. I go game by game. So in my mindset, it's always about each game.
He is not situational.
No, he's not.
Situational here. Come on.
He's the same no matter what it is. He gonna die on that hill.
He loves him Dale Hayden, and I understand.
When we lose, I'm ready to die. Okay. No, but
thank you. Yeah.
But anyway, what great fight. This team has risen up, made us all proud, and they're just an inspiration. And you know what? Looking forward, maybe this puts a little chip on their shoulder, and we got another little revenge tour coming in the form of an NCAA tournament. And I'm looking forward to it. And they're going to get the rest, and they're going to be reloaded, and I can't wait. So go Hawks.
Corey, thank you, sir. Go Hawks. Absolutely. Good way to end that call. And Kyle, is there anything else? I know you got a lot of work still, I'm sure, in 11 o'clock already here in the Central Time Zone. We got several people to get to on the phone line. We're going to let you slide. Anything else that you think fans should be thinking about here in the coming days? Obviously, selection day is right around the corner, and you get the official seat. I think you and I both see them as a 6. You are much more locked into that than I am. But is that fair to say, especially after the way they lost today, that they're probably a 6?
Yeah, first off, I mean, I know people are upset that they want to beat Ohio State and they wanted to continue the run, but realistically, I don't think the loss matters. It matters because Iowa, their 3 year in a row winning streak at the Big Ten tournament is over now. They're not going to get a 4-peat. But I don't think the loss, it doesn't do anything. It was like we said, when Iowa lost to Ohio State and UCLA close, a while ago. This doesn't hurt the momentum. I feel like Iowa comes out of this again saying, yeah, we lost another close game, but again, we were right on the court with the number 13 team in the country, and we're right to the end after we'd played 2 games already in a row. So I thought Iowa played pretty well. The 3-point shoot, I thought the big thing that kind of stood out was, first off, turnovers weren't bad. Iowa turned it over 16 times, which, is more than you want in a game. But facing Ohio State to get out of there with 16 turnovers wasn't bad. Ohio State's also one of the best teams in the Big Ten at not turning the ball over, and they had 14, which I didn't think was awful. Rebounding was closer than I expected. Actually, Ohio State won at 38-37, and Ohio State's not a great defensive or great rebounding team in general, so I thought that was big. But the thing that stood out was, Ohio State's not a team that generally is going to make 8, 9, 10 3-pointers. Iowa has the capability to do that, and we've seen them do it recently. I thought if this was a game where Iowa could make 8, 10 threes, that would be big. And Ohio State, to their credit, they matched Iowa 7 threes apiece. So I thought that was the big thing, was that Ohio State was able to make one more three than they average per game, and Iowa made one less three than they've been averaging over the last 12 games. So I thought that was the difference right there, was the 3-point shooting. But to your point about the 6th seed, yeah, I think that's where they'll be. A couple of the teams that were projected 7 seeds, Vanderbilt lost today to South Carolina. Not a bad loss, but now they cannot add to their resume. Oklahoma State did win today, but Utah lost yesterday, so it was a win over Texas Tech, so that doesn't help them a whole lot. Louisville lost today to Duke, so they cannot add to their resume. Michigan is the other one that is still alive, and they're projected to 7. But Florida State's a 6, and they lost today. Michigan State is projected to 6, and they lost to Iowa. And then West Virginia is still alive as well. I think Iowa has a better resume than Michigan State and Florida State. It's close, but I think I would favor Iowa over both of those. So I think Iowa's going to be a 6th seed. Then yeah, we'll see. It's what is tomorrow? Saturday. So a week from Sunday is when we'll get the selection show. Like I said, I think Iowa will be a 6th seed. The 11th seed, I think we're looking at like a James Madison or a Columbia or a UNLV.
Oh, God, not them, please, Jesus.
Wait, hold on a second. Well, just because you coached at James Madison,
No, they're good.
Yeah,
not them. That Lord, I'm gonna say a prayer.
I think those are the 3: Columbia, James Madison, UNLV. Now Columbia's got to play the Ivy League
Whoever
tournament.
James Madison gets at a 6th seed is probably going to be an upset.
You better wear a different colored Snuggie that night. That's all I gotta say.
Let's just listen. We're gonna play somebody else.
You got James Madison clothing, and you got to burn it.
I sure do in my closet.
Burn it if they play them. You got to burn it, Kachine. Anyway,
but I do think those are probably the 3 opponents right now, just because the bubble is so full of
James Madison, Columbia, and who?
UNLV is the other one that could potentially be, because the bubble is so full of Big Ten teams and teams that you throw Minnesota, Virginia Tech, Iowa State, like Indiana,
and they don't
Oregon.
like those people to play each other in the tournament.
Yeah, that's the thing, is right now ESPN had Washington and Virginia Tech in the last 4, and Minnesota is the first team out. So if that sticks there, I mean, that's 3 teams that Iowa's played. And Washington wouldn't play Minnesota if they were in.
No.
And Harvard can't play Princeton. They were both in the last 4 in. So you would get a situation where Iowa has played a team in both of the first 4 games. So I think unless there's a team that's in the committee's eyes is one of those last 4 that we haven't seen, that is a surprise, or if we get like a bid stealing situation that bumps someone down or something like that, I would expect Iowa to get one of those mid majors in 11 seed. Where they'll go, who knows? I'm still rooting for Duke. I'd love to go to Cameron Indoor, but we'll see.
That's a selfish thing, Kyle. That's a selfish.
No, we're gonna be selfish because I'll be driving down there. Absolutely, we're gonna.
How is that selfish?
It's selfish. It's selfish. Listen, I want them to, let's see. Who do I want them in the same? Where do I want a vacation?
How often do you just get to walk into Cameron Indoor for free?
I understand.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm going to be selfish then.
They'd probably love to play there. Although, didn't they play Duke there? Where did they play Duke a couple years ago?
They played Duke Caitlin's sophomore year and lost, but that was right. They were supposed to go to They were supposed to play Drake. It got canceled because of COVID. They were supposed to go to Cancun to play USC and Seton Hall, and that got canceled due to COVID. When Iowa played Duke, they hadn't played for like 12 days or something, and so it was like a really, and they lost. They lost by like 16 or something. But yeah, that was at Duke.
Kyle Huseman, HawkeyeReport.com. Follow him at Huseman Kyle, Huseman with 2 N's, and check out his stuff. Hawkeye Report. I saw there was some drama with somebody responding to a comment from yours on baseball today. You double dosed. I don't know how you do that. How do you cover? I mean, I've done post-game shows where you have like 2 or 3 shows in one day, but I don't know how you're covering the baseball and trying to tweet out all these different things that are happening, and then also you did a preview for UCLA already?
Well, yeah. Well, have you ever looked at any of my game previews? You think I started those at like midnight when I've been doing all? No, I
started. Yeah, I understand starting every.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't have the UCLA one done. No, I did. So I did Michigan State the day of the Wisconsin game. I had the Michigan State one like half to 3/4 done. So that way, if Iowa wins, then you do the rest. But I have a UCLA one with basically the preview is as far as it can go before Iowa before Iowa wins, and then break it down. I mean, you have to, because it's 11 o'clock right now. I still have to write a game recap of this game, and I've still got to put up the transcript from the press conference.
We lose an hour this weekend, Kyle.
I was up till 2 a.m. last night writing the preview of this game, of the Ohio State game. So then that was with the pre-writing. So yeah, it's right. Yeah, I heard you say that someone said that I jinxed them. No, I pre-wrote the other 2 articles too. So I did not have any
credit you. Listen, it's just like McCabe or Guyton or whoever fans are on it. If they make a big shot, we love them. If they don't, we can't stand them. So Kyle, you're the odd man out tonight. So
that's all right.
Do better next time. The Hawks will win. Kyle, we appreciate you being here. We'll talk to you sometime between now and game 1 of the tournament.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Kyle Heisman, HawkeyeReport.com. All right, let's go back to I think I fixed our phone line. Let's see if we can get our next caller. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
This is Andy. How are you guys?
Doing good, Andy. Appreciate you being patient.
Oh, no problem. I enjoy talking to you guys.
Well, we enjoy having you on. What do you got for Kachine and I?
Well, I've just been reading some of the comments. The Guyton hate tonight is ridiculous to me. Okay. She's a freshman. What'd she tear her knee up last December?
Yep.
And back playing high-level basketball.
Didn't have an off season, by the way. Didn't have an off season at all heading into her.
I'm sure that injury is catching up to her, mind you.
Say that again, Kachine.
I'm sure that injury is catching up to her.
Well, yeah, and I followed her at AAU in her high school career in Peoria. Just because when they get on Iowa's watch list, I start YouTubing like crazy. And she's not even, this isn't really even her game. She's not a spot-up shooter. She's a drive. In high school, she was a driver and a scorer, slasher, from what I've seen. And she's done an excellent job accepting a new role on a team just to find minutes, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, these people say Guyton's a turnover machine. Do you realize this whole team
is a turnover machine? Sydney and Falter had 4 turnovers today. We ain't talking about her though.
Ball over. Taylor Strimlow is really not good with the ball in the full court. So I don't know. It's just the opportunistic fans. But go ahead.
But Guyton makes it up on defense. She had that one bad turnover, comes over, gets a block, and then there's another one where she got a tip and got a steal. So I don't know what you want her to do.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing is to say she's a freshman. She's coming off a serious knee injury. We're going to give her grace and give her time because most people in her situation wouldn't even be playing right now.
Well, yeah, and then the last thing, given Jan Jensen, people ripping Jan Jensen's coaching, which, yes, Ava should have been in more tonight. I agree with Cash on that. But let's be honest with this team. We won 21 games with basically Lucy Ilson, Hannah Stolke, and if we're being completely honest, a bunch of role players that were recruited to support Caitlin Clark, basically, in that style of play. And I think this year we've done immensely well.
Agreed.
All right, we agree.
So, I'm hoping for a Sweet 16, and if I'm a school that's in line to coach or in line to host 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament, I don't want to see Iowa come. I don't want to see Iowa come to town, but
yep. I agree. No, they're
even though I
agree,
like I say, James Madison's pretty good.
I think they're going to play because they're not going to be matched up against one of the top 8 teams in the country. So they're going to be a dangerous matchup wherever they are.
Yep, I agree. So, all right, now it's going to be a little weird not having a post game to call into for the next week and a half, but I'll try to survive.
Andy, we appreciate you being here, sir, and we'll be back.
Maybe
all right, thanks,
sir. Appreciate it.
Maybe it'll give you time to relax.
Relax a little bit. Hey, you're gonna have a long off season.
I had to block somebody on Twitter today, so yeah, I need
to
relax.
You
I sure did. I sure did.
I'm glad I wasn't part of it.
Yeah, I can't.
Anyways, all right. Let's see. We got a couple of people here on the call line, but there are a couple of super chats we need to get to. S. Steele, AJ may develop into a great player, but she shouldn't be getting minutes in high leverage games. She constantly gets stripped off the dribble and drives baseline into a dead end.
Who's gonna come in for Lucy?
I don't know.
Okay, well then there's your answer.
I don't know. Now they did switch some things up a little bit different when you're talking about ball handling, point guard, but she's the second best ball handler on this team. They did not play Tegan Mulaney tonight because she was full in a minute and a half yesterday, but they ended up going with the Ava Stolke combo.
Yeah.
Do you have, like, we've had this conversation with Guyton and her potential improvement heading into year 2. Do you believe Tegan Mullaney can still turn into be a really good player? Because I think she can. I don't like, just because she's not.
I do think she can. I think she is going to need extensive work on really getting her confidence back. Like, she's got to live in the gym. She has to live in the gym. I'm not like off of her. By all means, I'm not. This year, yes. But I'm not. I think that she still has a chance to be a really good player for Iowa. I think she has a chance to be, a great shooter for Iowa. I just think she needed a year. Some people are like that.
How would you have fit into this team if you were a player? Would you have fit into this team? Would you? Let's go with that question instead. Would you have fit into this team?
I fit anywhere. That's one. Okay. But what would have happened is they would have no choice but to adapt to me, because I'm a leader by nature. So you're going to follow your leader regardless of the situation. But it would have been a little bit different because we would have had a little bit more edge to us than they currently do. So, yeah, I fit anywhere.
You've played at a lot of levels of sports, high school, AAU, college basketball. You've been playing volleyball ever since then. Yep. I'm guessing there are times, and I'm not asking you about Iowa specifically, but there have been times over the course of your career where you've had some teammates that didn't like you. Is that fair?
Here's the thing.
No, you don't have to explain it to me. I get it.
No. Totally. I think that at Iowa, it took them about a year to understand me as a person and player. Nothing I say is personal. If it does not, the bottom line does not end in a W, I don't really care about it. Like, I'm not the one to be coddling you and caring about I do not care. I need you to box out. Like, that was just me. It's not personal. As soon as we step between those lines, it's all about getting a W. After, I'm a completely different person. So it took people time to adjust to that, of figuring out, oh wait, okay, maybe she's not, but they had to figure that out. Once they figured it out, we was fine. Because they know I'm gonna have their back. Yeah. At any sense, in any situation, I'm gonna be the first one through the door. So it just kind of figuring it out. And most people love being my teammates, hate playing against me.
Yeah, I want to make something very clear. I'm not saying you would have been a bad teammate. I think it would have been a great
I'm never a bad teammate. It's just I'm a different type of teammate.
I got accused yesterday of mansplaining you. So I want to make very clear, I am not ripping you. I think you would have been a great teammate, but I can see why some people who maybe don't have the killer instinct and don't have because not everybody's cut out for that.
I've heard many people say, tell me to relax. Don't tell me to relax. How about you box out and you stop letting her destroy you? How about you do that? Like, I've had many people tell me to relax. No, we're not going to relax. No, we're not going to do that. You're too relaxed. How about that? So yeah, you're right. I think a lot, like I said, you just have to figure out what. I'm very intense, because I hate losing more than I love to win. Like, so if once you understand that concept, you'll understand me.
Good stuff. Okay, let's go back to our phone line. First of all, we have here. Let's go to our next caller. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
Angelo.
Hey, Angelo.
Rough game. Tough game to lose, but have a few days off here to relax. But anyway, one thing I'd like to say, like Lucy Olson could pretty much get off her shot whenever she wants to. So like, there was a time when she was 30 seconds left. She's driving down the lane. She kicks it out to Farabot. I thought she should have just taken that 15-foot shot from the top of the free throw line instead of kicking out to Kylie. I know it's probably the right, thing to do, but hell, the game's on the line. Lucy,
well, let's talk about that, because I see a lot of people in the chat, Angelo, that agree with you. Peace Love Jen says, I'm confused as to why Lucy wasn't as active towards the end of the game. She was crucial to helping them get to overtime in the other game against Ohio State. QC Hawks wants to know what happened to Lucy. Kim Pagel, what happened to Lucy? What happened to Lucy, Kachine? Let me ask you that question. She was dominating the first half. Like, she was single-handedly keeping this team in the game, that hot start for Ohio State.
You know, I'm not 100% sure because I don't think that Ohio State was doing anything that was, disruptive. They weren't like face guarding her or anything. I do think that her manning and managing the press probably took a lot out of her. I'm not going to lie to you. Because she was the main person that was trying to break the press. So, and she did such a great job of coming back to get the ball. So I feel like that might have took a little bit out of her come the second half. I think that other people started to step up in the second half. So there's that. I think that she made the right play with Kylie. That's the right play.
I know it's the right play, but
yeah, I know, I get you. It's the right play in that scenario. Obviously, hindsight's 2020. We talk about it all the time. I did not like the fact that she was taking the ball out of bounds. Don't like that. Because we're talking about 0.7 seconds left. Who is our best mid-range person?
I know.
I don't understand why in the heck she was taking the ball out.
The only thing I can think of, and this may be reading way too far into that, is Lucy does not have a real quick shot. She brings that shot way over her head, so it's going to be harder to get a shot off in 0.7 seconds. I agree with you, but I'm just trying to play devil's advocate because Rafine said the same thing in the chat. Why is she inbounding the ball in that situation?
No, I'm still not letting her inbound the ball. That's crazy. Yeah, I no. So I would have had to figure something out. I don't know what, but I just feel like that's just a waste in my mind. But yeah, I mean, I think it probably was a combination of things. Her just being kind of exhausted when she got the ball past half court.
Yeah.
Ohio State put the pressure on her.
Yeah. Because she's really the only one I trust bringing up the ball. I mean,
correct.
Everybody else kind of scares me. Like when Stremlo, hurry up and get that ball out of your hands when you're dribbling the ball. Oh, man.
Same with
I
Hannah.
like her.
Same with Hannah.
But she's just, oh, man. But anyway, some of these, like the first play of the game with like full court press, and man, we worked on it all week and we get it stolen, and I'm like, oh my God. And they go for it. And then usually our steals are like when they steal the ball in the press, they're for layups too. It's like, oh, it's driving me nuts. But anyway,
it's just it's the live ball turnovers that kill me. I just, yeah, exactly. So many result in layups. It's the live ball turnovers, and so much of what Iowa does is live ball turnover. Now, especially when you're in the press, a lot of that's going to be live ball. But they turn the ball over. Kachine, the first play of the game and the first play of the second half.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? Coming out of the first play, you can't. It's like they had no idea how to attack the press on the very first possession of the game. That did upset me. I will admit that.
I'm just not going to say anything. Yep.
All right. Angelo, anything else before we let you slide?
Just, it was a good game. And I will say, like, Taylor McCabe, she doesn't make any mistakes. She was off tonight, but she isn't going, like, turn the ball over or anything like that. And she does a decent job on defense. So, the other team hit some big threes. So.
Okay, sir.
Just one of those games.
Yeah.
Just one. But we'll get some time off, retool, and we'll be better.
We'll be better. Appreciate you calling in, sir. Always enjoy hearing from you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
We'll be better.
All right. Let's see here. A couple things before we get to our next caller. Thank you, S. Steele, for that super chat. Stavros with the super chat as well. On that last play, you need a passer throwing it in. That's why we had Lucy doing it. Okay, but Lucy's our best, so why not Stremlo throwing it in? So kind of thinking as Stavros writing, but yeah, I understand that. Scott, I don't have a super chat here, but I do appreciate the donation, but I don't have the comment, so I'll see if I can find that in the live chat. But if not, apologize, but thank you for the comment the chat at the very least. Bo says, what was missing? What was with missing simple layups tonight? Well, this is not a tonight problem.
I was going to say, same thing that's been happening all season.
We've been talking about it. I mean, Hannah wasn't the only one, but man, some of those misses. Lucy missed a couple. Kylie made a couple of really tough layups tonight. I give her credit. Ava's really good around the rim. Addie misses layups, shots around the rim.
She's got a great touch.
Yeah, I mean, what we asked this, we're broken record. We asked this question.
I can't get into that anymore.
Okay. She can't deal with it tonight, folks.
I can't.
All right. Scott with another super chat. Thank you, Scott. Jada wasted 2 to 3 player practices instead of social. What? Jada wasted.
I don't get it.
Player practices instead of social. I think basically he's saying Jada Gyamfi's more concerned with social media than she is practicing. I don't know.
Maybe that might be what he was trying to get at.
Yeah.
She doesn't. I don't care what she does. She's a non-factor in regards to the W category or the L category.
She has taken up a scholarship. Now you're not going to play 15 people, but she is on scholarship for a reason. She should be. So, anyways, S. Steele, women's basketball refs have always stunk, not just this year.
That's a fact.
Okay, you agree with that. D. Rollison says Carver sells out in 26 with how they played. Let's go Hawks. I was thinking about that the other day. I think they will sell out.
They kept people interested.
Yep. All right, let's go to our next caller who's been on hold for a long, long time. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
Lansky, Corey, good evening.
Good evening, Lansky. How are you?
I'm great. I want to thank both you and Kachine for these late night coverage. Kachine has moved. She's a working mother. She's an hour behind us, and we should give her some hot chocolate and some ice cream, Corey.
All right. Well, we'll work on that. Absolutely. She deserves it. And hey, I'm kind of tired too. I'm not a mom, and didn't just.
Not you're kind of tired too. It's crazy. Really?
I don't know what.
I'm kind of tired too. I'm cracking up.
Corey, you just made my point. You don't do as much as Coach Kachine does in the 24-hour period. Thanks for making my point, buddy.
I made your point. I agree. I'll admit it.
Say, I think if you take 2 steps back and look at mid-January where we're at today, we're still young and we're still developing. I'm excited that we got Hayden. It's almost like transmission of a fast automobile. And the higher up you go in competition, it comes down to such little plays. And everybody's taking a shot, I think, at every Hawk that played tonight. Kind of blows my mind. I think in the chat, everybody's taking some shot at every player. And I think it's very exciting to have Ava Hayden coming, and they're a good enough coaching staff. They'll use her in the tournament, and we'll have another thing to look at and examine. And Kachine, you tell me about experience, having to play 5 games to win it all. Tell me about experience and how the littlest things matter, like the opening inbounds pass in the second half for momentum. I mean, most games that doesn't even matter, but it might tonight. But once you talk about maybe we're still trying to get the experience to make the little plays.
Yeah, I think that the more games you play, your margin of error is smaller because you are more fatigued. There, you are not your freshest. All of those things come into play, especially playing each day. We never had 5 games because we didn't have that many teams in the Big Ten. But even the 3 games that we did play, by the time you hit championship, you're tired. Right. So I think that, like I said, the margin of error is very, 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 very slim with the more reps you go. So I think that this game was won on those margin errors. We're not even talking about the shooting or Taylor McCabe because that's the game of basketball. We're not even talking about that. I'm talking about the margin of errors of different things, from the coaching staff to some of the player decisions, things like that. I think that those are what the game comes down to at the end of it. Not so much like the shooting performances or even the turnovers, because honestly speaking, I thought we did pretty well for the most part. So I just think that, like I said, margin of error just gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
You do me a favor, Cash?
Yeah.
I bet you can't relax except for maybe the last half hour of the day. Never, never, never quit. Never, never relax on Corey. Never, never, ever. Don't relax on that guy.
Yep.
I got you.
Well, Mansky.
Thank you both. Corey, I love you, man.
Thank you, sir. Love you too. Good stuff. Sheila, NCAA tournament is what matters most. Appreciate that super chat. Sheila, very much agree. And D. Rolofson with the super chat. Low man ski. Good stuff there. All right. Katie wants to know if you think it's a possibility that Jan uses Ava a little bit more come NCAA tournament time.
I would hope so, based off of the tournament she had.
You're not going to start her, though, with a 5.
Oh, I don't think so.
4
No.
and then a falter. That just shifts everything.
No, I don't think so. No.
Whack.
Mm-mm.
So let's see. When they ran Hayden and Stolke together tonight, was a falter at the 3 then?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Lucy and Feuerbach. So McKay was on the bench? Am I right in saying that?
McKay was on the bench one time, and the other time Sydney was on the bench. And so they had the three small guards.
That was just when Sydney was getting that was just when Cindy was catching some wind. That
correct. No, it wasn't because of any, like, neither one of them technically. I think that's just how it went.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember if it was Ava that came in for Sydney or if it was Hannah that came in for Sydney, but somebody came in for Sydney. So then it was those two, and then Sydney came back in for one of the guards.
Annie, thank you so much for the super sticker. Again, I can't see the actual sticker on my end. I'd love to be able to. I'll try to pull this up on YouTube so I can see it, but do appreciate that. And she adds with a comment here. Always enjoy the show. Look forward to your take on the games, Cash and Corey. Yeah, we put me in the mix. How about that? Appreciate your support all the way from Brooklyn, New York, Annie. So keep up the good work on your end, being a great listener and contributor. Pierre wants to know, do you think they could have called charging on McMahon on the last play against Stolke? I kind of brought that up earlier with the chicken wing, but there was a couple of plays.
If Hannah did not start falling, she would have gotten a charge. Like if she would have just stood her ground and like actually took the contact, it would have been easily a charge. But she was already falling, and I would have to go back and replay it to see if she lost her footing is why she was falling, or if she was anticipating it. I don't know which one it was. I'd have to go look.
And Annie, I did just see the sticker on YouTube. It was a big foam finger, so thank you for that. I need to check those out more often. Everyone gives me super stickers here, but they're kind of cool to go check out. So, Mark, thank you for the donation as well. If everybody donated just a little bit, it would help make such a big difference. But, Mark, thank you for your donation. Thank you both for covering and supporting women's basketball. Go Hawks. Very much appreciated. And not done. Obviously, this team is going to play in the Big Ten tournaments, or excuse me, in the Big Dance in the NCAA tournament here in less than 2 weeks. Kim wants you on the staff, and I've seen this comment before in the comment section on different videos on the YouTube channel. So there is I saw it was.
Do you think Cash deserves 1K?
I think I don't know. 1K. Wow, 1K.
Yeah, that's wild.
1K, man. You bringing it in. Oh man. So this person's genuine though. They really do want you on.
No, he did. Yeah, for sure.
So, anyways, so this has been brought up before, but would you ever consider moving back to Iowa if ever there was an opportunity to coach again, or you just past that point in life with Juliana and the family and just everything?
Here's what I'll say. Anything can happen. We'll leave it at that, right? Any given day, right? Who knows? I don't know where I'll be in 5 years. Like I don't know what that looks like. So I'm not gonna say no, completely no. But the likelihood is probably no. But I'm never gonna say no.
We're gonna go super fast on these few starred comments that I had saved from earlier. So Jenny, we did address this if you missed it earlier in the show. The Cody McMahon thing is probably a hot topic on social media. Rusty, did Lucy Olson take any shots in the second half? She took shots. How many shots do you think she took, Kachine?
In the second half? Oh God, I don't know.
Second half, she took. Let's see here. Lucy Olson took 3 shots in the second half. That's not enough.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's just not enough. And especially if Ohio State wasn't really doing anything different specifically on her to shut her down. I mean, she took 18 in the game. So she made 1 in the second. So she went 5 of, so she was only 5 of 15 in the first half. That's not a great percentage, but she did keep them in the game for a good stretch of time. So Bo says Guyton is struggling lately, but her turnovers are about as detrimental as Mulaney's play lately. Well, the coaches benched Mulaney today. They're not benching Guyton, so there's a reason. And they're just as thin at the 4, if not more thin, than they are in the backcourt. So that tells you she's giving them something else, right? Right. No.
Correct.
See, we got to this comment already. Angela says Ava Hayden looks good, like college level. How do you know, or how do we know she's gotten past her transitional period from high school to college basketball as a 5? Is Ava there?
Angela, that's a very well thought out question. I don't know if you're still on here, but kudos to you. I think she has finally found her way a little bit. She still has some freshman bonehead decisions, but nonetheless, I think that the game has slowed down for her. That's what I usually say with post players is it's all about how quickly the game can slow down for you. So for her, I think the game has slowed down for her. She's able to score on defenders. She's able to make the right move because for a long time, if she did get the ball, it was just a quick drop step and score, which nothing is wrong with that, right? Like by all means, if it works, it works. But today they took away that drop step. I don't know if you guys saw that, but one of the plays, they took away her drop step. She pivoted back to the middle and then pivoted right back and was able to finish on that side. That's the next step. So usually when you come in, you got one move. That's fine because that one move is going to work every time in high school, every time. But in college, it doesn't. So usually that's where they struggle. For her, being able to see that she was able to make a counter move, that's when I was like, okay, the game has slowed down for her. She's now understanding that if this doesn't work, where she can get her angles. That comes with practice, that comes with film, that comes with just the time of being in college is the best way to say that. But yeah, I think that she's finally starting to, the light bulb has come on.
I think she's got a better variety of moves already down there than Addison or Hannah.
She does.
And
she came in with them. But
yeah, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Yeah, she's like I said before, having Ava at the time as our third post is insane. Like, period. And then let's say you flip-flop it, right? Let's say you put Ava second, right? Now you have Addison who scored 27 points in a game as your third post player. We are beyond fortunate to have that as an option. That's not normal. It's not normal.
Amanda, thank you for reminding everybody. We're still close to 500 people as we wrap things up here after midnight 30 on the East Coast. Click that like button if you truly believe in your heart that Sita Falter was fouled at the end game or at the end of the game. And let's just take it a step further. Click the like button regardless because
Yes,
you're enjoying the show. Please do that. It does help. D. Rollison, go watch Sid's Hawk Central interview from a few minutes ago. What a great ambassador of women's hoops. So we'll have to check that out.
She's awesome.
And Lomansky, Anything can happen. Kachine Alexander, our rainbow. Okay. He has a way with where he ought to write a book.
He does. He does have a way with words.
And Corey Seedorf, thank you for the donation. $5 donation on Venmo. Thanks for all your great work and quality content. Go Hawks. So thank you for that, Corey.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Those all help.
Jen says you need to be on the 25-26 staff. The problem with that is then I lose you on the show.
You say that every year.
I do say that every year. Now,
hilarious.
We never had a fixed person. I mean, we just started the post-game coverage the year prior to you hopping on.
Yeah,
here,
I think so. Mm-hmm.
But during previous postseason, we had Tanaya Davis on throughout their postseason run. And the very next year, she got hired on the staff.
Yeah.
What's ironic about it is the very last men's postgame the year before, when they lost to Richmond, was with Matt Gatens. And the very following offseason, he got hired to staff. So don't get hired to the staff because just keep playing volleyball, and you and Juliana just
living a retired life. Gotcha.
That's right. Brian, how do we defend the corner three with Ava and Hannah playing defense together?
They just need to rep it. That's really it. I mean, Hannah can guard 1 through 5. So she just needs to rep that position. I'm sure in practice, all she was repping was the 5 position.
Yeah.
But that's really all she needs.
Aaron says, did the troll call in tonight? Trolls never call in. The people who are always are always way too big cowards to actually.
That's exactly why I said it. And then that's why exactly when I blocked him, because I knew he wasn't going to.
Yeah, there's all kinds of people that are constantly ripping you, me, anybody that has a platform, and they're always too cowardly to face the person that they're ripping because they're keyboard warriors and nobody cares. So anyways, that is what it is. So what Corey considers vacation is a normal day for some of us. Hey, if I'm going all the way to Chapel Hill or Durham, I'm going to make it a vacation. That's what I'm saying. Whenever when I covered the Big Ten tournament, Big Ten championship game 2 years ago in Indianapolis, that was a trip for me. It was a mini vacation for me. I went to the Beef House. By the way, do you like the Beef House? You went to the Beef House when you took road trips to in Bloomington, or did you go to the Beef House in Covington, Indiana? Man, I know a lot of Hawkeye teams went to the Beef. I know the football players always went to the Beef House, but it's just a huge steakhouse in the middle of rural Indiana on the interstate over on the way to.
The only thing I really remember going to faithfully was that thing in Iowa State.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna say the name
every single time. That's the only thing I really remember. Everywhere else, I don't think I remember going to the same place.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was not bad at all. I had no problems. Oh, when we went to play Duke, we played Duke twice. No, not Duke. When we play Penn State, we stay at the same hotel and they have the same. Now that breakfast is dangerous, but delicious.
What does this mean? What Diego says, Corey?
Did you do a post game from the bathroom?
Yeah, yeah, I did a post game from the bathroom. What are you talking about, Diego? What are you talking about, brother? I appreciate you being here. I see you all the time. What are you talking about?
Maybe it was.
So the people who are on audio listening, Diego asked the question, Corey, when are you going to make another post game from the bathroom? I have no idea what he's talking about. Okay. Just full disclosure, no idea what he's talking about.
Maybe it looked like you were in a bathroom.
I'm always here. I'm always right here.
No, how many times have you done a post game somewhere else, like at a game when you went to travel or something?
At a game? At a game? Looks like I'm in the bathroom. I don't know what backdrop.
It was got to be in a public place. It had to have been somewhere where you were in public. Maybe it was when that lady kids was screaming. Who knows? I don't know.
That was 2 years ago. Anyways. It was not a bathroom, by the way, but Diego says it wasn't a bathroom, but it seemed that way. Okay, well, that's news to me. But D. Rollison says, go to Angus Barn in Raleigh. How far is Raleigh from Charlotte?
3 hours.
3 hours? Okay. Are you a red meat person? Do you like beef?
I sure do.
Okay. Do you like pork? Do you like chicken? Do you like all the major
meats?
I eat it all. You eat it all. Okay. You're like me in that regard.
If it's good, I'll eat it.
Yep. And the
For
place
certain.
you're talking about in Ames is they've changed ownership over the years, but
Have they?
Yeah, they have.
That place used to be really good.
Yeah, it is good. It's still good. It's packed.
And it was like such a cool, like kind of different atmosphere. You know, you get your little tray. It was cool.
Yep. Stavros says, live in the gym. Tegan is first out there every day. Stavros must have connections to the team. She'll be amazing. Just needs it to translate to the game. Probably something mental. And then Aaron says, got to do a selection show. So we'll have to work on that. I'm sure we'll.
The troll deserves the block. Well, he deleted it because he was an idiot. But either way.
And Hawkeyes 2133 is there a toilet under you? No, I promise this studio is not in a bathroom. So get off that subject.
Hilarious.
Anyways, folks. All right, the Hawkeye women falling at the hands of the 3rd seed Ohio State Buckeyes in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament. In spite of 14 points from Hannah Stolke, 14 from Lucy Olson, 10 from Ava Hayden, 14 from Sydney Falter, positive contributions from Kylie Fierbach. And now Iowa will have over a week before they get word from the NCAA Tournament Committee as to where they'll play, who they'll play, what their draw looks like. Sounds like they'll probably be a 6 seed, but we'll have to wait and see.
Plenty of time to work on that Ava Hayden Hannah connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, hit that like button if you're still here. Please subscribe if you've not done so. You can support the show by supporting our sponsors. Certainly, donations help. Sponsorship information is found, emails found at the bottom of the screen. And I'm not going to even get to the.
Oh my God, Amanda is hilarious. She said, is it like Baltimore?
Okay, we're not.
Oh, she cracks me up. She is a funny person. I tell you what. Whew.
The one that the first one she's talking about.
She's got some great one-liners.
All right. Folks, thank you for being here. Kachine, thank you for taking the time. It's always a pleasure to chill with you on a Friday night after an Iowa game, win or lose. So we'll plan on talking to you maybe end of next week. Enjoy getting settled into your new place. And
yes.
by the time we talk next, it'll be warmer. It's supposed to be 70 degrees in Iowa on Monday, 72 on Monday here.
Yeah, we're 70
Iowa.
tomorrow.
So yeah, we're going to get Charlotte weather for a few days. So anyways.
We love that for you. Mm-hmm.
Folks, for Kachine Alexander, I'm Corey Brada from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back with you Sunday for men's postgame. Yes, that's still happening. Final game of the men's basketball season. Sunday, we'll have postgame coverage right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Have a great night.